Alright, so let's start the second part of the tutorial. Now that we are done with the texturing and shading, let's start doing some simulation. And I'm not a very good FX artist, so I've taken help with my friend. And so the concept over here is I'm just going to drop all the seeds into a bowl and we're going to render the pomegranates. So making a bowl, and I just delete all those faces and we just have the bowl ready. But before that, before starting the simulation directly, the first things we actually need to do is I'm going to select all the pomegranate seeds, the groups directly, and I'm going to snap all the three onto the center of the grid. And I'm going to freeze the transformation and remove all the history for them. Alright, that's it. And freezing transformation is important. Now I just I start a particle emitter. I create a particle emitter and I bring the emitter top right up, and if you just play it by default, you can see that particles are emitting and they're falling onto the ground. So now each one of the seeds should be replaced in the place of the particles. So what I do is I select all the particles as the group itself. I have tried actually different methods using mash and bullet, but none of them are working because there is a seed inside the object, and because of that there was shading issues and all. So ultimately I had to stick to this end particle method. So after selecting the groups and the particle shape, I just select the instancer and apply it. So as you can see that all the particles have been replaced by the pomegranates, but it has just replaced only one of the variations of all the three which we have. So we need to give a small script, small expression that we're just going to inform Maya that you have just used only one of the variations, but we have three variations in total. So you just have to use a random index for any particles of for the simulation. So I'll go down to the add particle attributes and I just click on the general attributes. So one of them is Ri, which is like random index. We just need three variations for the particles. I'm going to keep it as per particle and I'm going to add it. So as you can see, we have the Ri node in the per particle attributes, and I'm going to add another one for rotation. So when the pomegranates are falling from the emitter, I don't want all of them to just fall in one single rotation value, but they have to be very random rotation values. So for that, I'm just going to write a script for rotation. For a random index, I'm just going to write rand (0 to 3), which means Maya should calculate any one of the sample from the three values, from the three seeds, and it can just execute any particle with any one of the seeds. So that is one for random index for the Ri expression. And then now we need a small expression for the rotation as well. So for rotation, I'm going to add random from 0 degrees to 360 degrees, and once we are adding this 360 degrees for all the three pomegranates, we shall execute that. You just have to make sure that the expression is very particular. Make sure of the brackets and the upper cases, lower cases. I am not really a good person in FX, so my friend helped me with this. So now if we play, it won't still work because we have not assigned these expressions into the for the instance replacement geometry. So first part will be, I'll be assigning for object I'll be assigning the random index, and for rotation I'll be assigning the rotation expression. And now as you can see, you have the variation of the simulation. So we have all the three variations and all of them are falling in the random rotation values, which is exactly what we want. But of course, all of them are penetrating into each other, so we need to add collisions between them. So firstly, I'm just going to add self collision, and I'll just try to adjust the thickness values. So now once we play the simulation, you can see that none of them are penetrating into each other, but all of them are falling as a separate object by itself. So I'm going to add the bowl now, and I'm going to add the bowl as a passive collider. So I'll be going to nCloth, select the object, going to nCloth and use it as passive collider. I'm going to increase the thickness for the bowl. Once I play now, so the pomegranates are penetrating in through the object. So I'm just going to increase the thickness of the object. Yeah, so something around 1.2 would work. All right. Just to make sure that none of them are penetrating so easily inside. And you can see the solver display now. So we can turn it off as of now because we don't see very easy penetrations in them. So now we are almost done with the simulation. Maybe we just have to do some small variation in the rate of which it's falling, or the density of the particles. I just try to adjust some values here and there. And now I can see that none of them are easily penetrating, and which is what exactly we want. So I am fine and I'm happy with the simulation for now. So rendering these pomegranates would come out something like this. The major problem was there are too many blacks in the dense part of the pomegranates as compared to the reference image. So you have to start using the scatter color in the transmission tab. So that is one of the most important thing to get the best results. So I assign a very pale red color and start adjusting the values for the depth value and the scatter color variations. So as you can see, it's coming closer to our reference image. The blacks have been completely gone, and you can see that whatever color we have kept in the scatter is the color which is being seen through the transmission color in the depth area. Yeah, so I just adjust my camera a little bit, and I'm not happy with the camera position or maybe the density of the pomegranates. I just try some stunts using hue shift, which is not actually the right thing for me for this pomegranates, because I've already done the texturing well. I don't have to use any hue shift for this. Adjusting the shader a little bit here and there. You can spend more time for tweaking to get the exact colors of the transmission or the scatter depth values and all. So here I just try to adjust the color of the scatter values just to show the paleness in the pomegranate seeds. Yeah, so now we are seeing a different variation, which is what we are expecting. So for now, I'm just finalizing the shader and the seed shader as well. Just desaturating the seed shader. You can as well use a different color jitter as well, because there are different seeds and all of them are having the same shader. You can use a little bit of color jitter, which will give you some variation in each one of the seeds, maybe in the saturation values or in the color intensity values. So now I'm done with the shading part. Now we shall go for the final simulation, and I actually wanted to render it with a very large bowl. So what I'm going to do is we'll keep this aside for now, and I'm just going to make the bowl a very large one, and I'll simulate the pomegranates, and all of them are going to be, I'm just going to change the rate at which they're falling, and I'm just going to stop all of them at the 100th frame. So as you can see, there's a lot of pomegranates falling into the bowl, and collisions are doing well, and self collisions are also working well. I'm just going to add a camera and work on its resolution settings. I just want the bowl to be even more large, and let's see how the simulation will work out now. I'm going to increase my rate value to 500, and we have a lot of pomegranates falling into the bowl. Alright. So I think this should be done for now. I just wanted more of the pomegranates to be into the frame. Instead of having a very close-up image of the pomegranates, I just want a wide view of the pomegranate seeds. And now, after all of this, I felt that maybe I can add some water droplets into the scene. So I'll be using a script for that. And before I use the water droplet script, I need to have one single mesh for all the pomegranates. So I have used another script to just convert my instancer into mesh. So whichever frame I felt the simulation was fine, I've just chosen it to duplicate and change the custom range to 194 frame, which is where I am in, and I click convert. Just be a little bit careful that it might crash sometimes. The only reason why I chose this script was when I tried the Mash instance to Geo, it crashed every single time. So I had to search for a free script online, and this is what I found. And this is really very helpful, and it's very fast in fact. So once I get the instance to Geo, I'll be converting that Geo into one single mesh. But since the frame is having the water droplets are seen only on the surfaces, I'm just going to remove all the other pomegranates which are not seen in the frame. And before that, just make sure you save the file before you do this instance to Geo. And I'll be leaving the links of the two scripts, one for the instance Geo and one for the water droplets. I'll be giving the links in the description. They're really very helpful. They're actually really very fast as well compared to the native Maya instance to Geo option. So as of now, we have this Geo. I'm not going to use all of this Geo because it will take a lot of time and a lot of calculation. So I'm just going to select some of the pomegranates, which is seen very clearly to the camera. And so as you can see, I'm just selecting only the very few pomegranates. I'm just going to select the remaining other ones and click delete. You can see the count of the faces in the top left of the part of the workspace, that it has been decreased way much that would be fast for our droplet calculations. So I'm just going to use the ones which are on the top because that is where the droplets will be seen. So I'm not going to spend too much of time for calculation of droplets. And here also I'm just going to remove some more, and we need to convert all of this into one single mesh. So I'm just going to first delete the history, freeze the transformation, and combine all of them. This might again take a while. Before I continue with the simulation or the water droplets, I'll just save the file in case it crashes. So now I'm going to delete the instance group, and I'm just going to use that one geo which we have converted into, which we have combined the whole of the pomegranates geo. So I'm going to select this one, and I'm going to use this as a droplet generation. So again, this is a lot of mesh here, so I'm just going to convert it into one mode, which is not the smooth mode. And now I'll just reduce the polygons even way less, so that it is even more less burden for calculation. I'll reduce it to maybe 85% or 75%. Anyway, because these pomegranates are not going to be seen in our frame, these are just going to be hidden. So this is just like an acting body for the water drops. And now I'm just going to click on I'll just delete the history and freeze the transformation and use the water droplet script. It's a very simple tool and very quick tool. You just have to select the object and click on the select button over here, which uses just one object over here for the water droplet simulation. And there is a density, minimum size, maximum size. I generally just leave the minimum size and the maximum size to whatever it is, and I just change only the density. And before I run the simulation, I just check the mesh, and you can see that your mesh is good to go. So once that is done, I would click make it rain, baby. It takes a while sometimes, and the water droplets are not physical volumetric water droplets. They are just a plain they are just a hemisphere which are just blended into the object surface. So they are not perfect water droplets. So but these are useful when you are just rendering one single frame for artworks, or when it's not very very close to the camera. They work really great. I'm checking my water droplets render, and these are not the droplets which can be used for very close-up camera angles, but this can be used for very distant camera positions and for decent artworks. So I'm just finalizing my camera, and I'm happy that there are a lot of pomegranates in the frame, and they look really delicious. I'm very very happy with the output of this pomegranates. So you're able to see some water droplets here and there, and they're not perfect, but they're good to go for. So I'm really happy with the output. Please like and share this video and suggest me for more videos. And as always, thanks for watching. Bye bye.